right now on Fox 5 News at 10.
Plus, it's being called the pandemic within the pandemic. I'll look at the recent rise in the number of deadly drug overdoses. Well, there has been a disturbing uptick in the number of overdose deaths in the U.S.
And it seems to be linked to this pandemic. Stacey Delicat shows us why drug abuse is now being called the pandemic within the pandemic.
As COVID-19 deaths continue to surge around the country, so do deaths related to drug overdoses.
We're talking about a crisis that in New York and everywhere is just getting to horrific levels.
A study just published in the Journal of the American Medical Association looked at the number of overdose-related cardiac arrest calls received by EMS crews through August of 2020.
There was a huge triple-digit surge around May of this year in overdose-related cardiac arrests, so overdose deaths.
Leo Beletsky, a professor of law and health sciences at Northeastern University, worked on the report.
Social isolation and using alone and just making people stay put had something to do with the overdose risk.
Lockdown measures and social isolation are just one factor that helped create a perfect storm of sorts for those vulnerable to substance abuse. Healthcare lawyer Harry Nelson, author of The United States of Opioids, explains.
It's about social isolation. It's about economic loss. It's about worry. So many people being out of work or worried that they won't be able to afford their basic needs. And on a more fundamental level, it's also about the lack of access to care.
During the pandemic, it's harder for addicts to access counseling services and the life-saving drug naloxone. And because people are not seeing friends or family as much, they're more likely to be alone when they overdose.
In a context of social isolation, people are less likely to be discovered while they're slipping into an overdose, and that's maybe one of the causes of such a huge surge in deaths specifically.
The experts say better access to medical and mental health telemedicine services are needed during the pandemic, as is better distribution of naloxone. In Westchester, I'm Stacey Delicat, Fox 5 News.